might even get the outcome you want in the end, and people she thought would have been supportive weren't particularly supportive. Another situation, I had a friend who was walking, let me just refer to the notes 1 second. I had a friend who was on the tube.
Yes.
Someone was standing like way too close to her, and I don't think it wasn't. I'd imagine that it wasn't a packed tube, so there was no need for that close proximity, invading her personal space. It was actually in the station, so yeah, there was no need for. It wasn't a packed platform. It was just standing too close. So she had to stand around the station, wait around to try and wait for him to go. So that, harassment.
Yeah. Delays
is what it was. And again, I doubt she reported it, because these kind of things happen to us every day. We would be constantly calling the police and at the police stations. The police stations would be overflowing if we all reported these things all the time, because they happen daily. Another situation, and the same friend, she was walking home and she was followed by a car, guys in a car, late at night. They continued to follow her in their car, so to the point where she saw a bus and she just ran for the bus, because obviously she didn't feel safe. They then followed the bus and pulled up beside the bus and were shouting at her from their window
to the bus,
at the bus, alongside the bus. I don't know what happened in the end, if the bus lost the car or whatever, but
crazy.
Then that's just a really upsetting situation. And then, I've been in similar situations myself, and you're scared while you're opening the door. You're like, could they come round the corner? Like, you're trying to open the door as quick as possible. You double lock the door more than you would normally, and it affects the rest of your evening, and maybe disrupts whatever you're supposed to do, because then you're in a different mindset and you're upset, and knock-on effects. Another situation, that same friend used to work in corporate, and one of the directors told her during work drinks, and she doesn't drink, so we can't use alcohol here, although we can't use it as an excuse anyway, but just to make that clear. So she used to work in corporate, and one of the directors told her that he would take her down a back alley and fuck her whether she wanted him to or not. So, one of the directors told her that he'd take her down an alley and rape her,
basically.
She reported it, and nothing was done. So she ended up leaving the company, leaving the job, because the CEO who she reported it to told her that if he was the director, he'd be mad at the CEO for basically bringing it to people's attention and snitching.
What is that?
So she had no option but to leave, and nothing was done about it, and obviously that person continues to probably do the same thing,
because he's not
using his position of power and feeling comfortable with stating that he's just gonna rape people, and that's okay, and if they don't like it, then they have to leave. And if they're not in a position where they maybe financially can leave,
then
then what happens if they stay? Who knows? What happens at the next drinks? What happens when that person would try and order an Uber home? Is he going to jump in the Uber?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to do anything physically about it? Are people going to believe you? Are people going to want to speak up? Because that's it. It's just another prime example.
Yeah.
And I think what we need to remember is that these situations are not exclusive to your Harry Weinsteins, your Chris Browns, your R. Kellys. They're not exclusive to bar jobs where, you know, there's alcohol involved and the bar manager might say something, or a drunk customer might try something. Like, regardless of where you work, where you live, what, you know, your environment.
Just an abuse of your position.
It happens everywhere. So that's just a couple of stories. I had, I said I would keep the stories confidential, but that person doesn't mind me sharing their name. So that was a few stories from Salma El-Wardani,
Cool.
Poet, feminist, activist, writer, businesswoman, amazing women all round. She also has she also now presents on BBC Radio, The Scene. If you don't know it, check it out.
I shall do.
Little plug there. But yeah, that was just three stories from one woman, and we've each got a huge pile of stories to tell. So that's just a small indication of, that's just a sample.
No,
I mean,
it was an interesting sample because it was like, it kind of bridges the whole thing. So like exactly what you've been saying, sexual harassment isn't just in the workplace, it can happen to you anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
And that was just a
example. I mean, a couple of my own stories, I've been followed home at 5 p.m. Yeah, it was winter, so it was a bit dark, but I mean, people, whether it's day or night, things are said. And rather than ignoring it, I was on the phone to a friend at the time. That obviously didn't even put the guy off. But rather than ignoring it, I turned round and confronted him and said, "Are you following me? Or do you just happen to be going the same way?" Because he'd been across the road, he waved in my direction. I thought maybe he's waving someone behind me. So I sort of ignored that, and then he waved again. And I looked around, no one waved back, and he crossed the road. He was then walking behind me closely, and that's when I turned around and confronted him. Asked him if he was following me or just happened to be walking in the same direction, and he outwardly told me that he was following me, indeed. To which point I told him to fuck off. Quite clearly, not quietly, so I wanted people around to hear. And I told him his behaviour was disgusting, and I told him that it was harassment. To which nobody else said anything. People sort of smiled, and that was it. I then had to walk the rest of the way home, looking over my shoulder and just trying to digest that situation while still being on the phone to my friend. And then the next day you almost forget about it, because it's just so, like, part of, unfortunately, it happens every day, things like that. And nowadays I will always say something back, whether that's a hand gesture or a remark. I'll call it out if someone says something to me. I have another friend who says, "I don't know why you bother." That's kind of what they want. They want a reaction. They want that attention. Her way of dealing with it is ignoring it. And I see both sides, but I just now cannot. The teenage me would have probably like blushed and eyes to the floor and kept walking and not said anything and felt embarrassed. Me now, I will not let them just quietly carry on like that.
I don't know.
I
feel like you always should need to say something if you feel uncomfortable about it. Like,
I'm gonna out you.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna.
That should be a thing that we just do. Like, it shouldn't be awkward or weird to.
But I do also understand why women don't, because there are situations where it can further provoke.
Make it, worse.
Especially if it is night time and you are on your own in a quiet street. So it does depend on the situation. But there, then one more story. Me and a friend were walking just to a bar, like Friday or Saturday night, and this guy literally blocked the pavement. Hey ladies, like, tried to chat us up in our personal space. Would literally not let us past. And again, that's just, your night's barely begun, that's just you on your way out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether it's, like I said, a night out or going to work, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, you can be covered head to toe. I've been like, whether you're in gym wear, no makeup, sweaty, or whether it's winter and you're completely covered up head to toe.
Yeah.
It does not. So it's not the way we present ourselves that is the issue, and that's another story, and that's another avenue anyway of control. But when people try to play that card,
but that's the excuse
that card
I hear
isn't
all the
even
time.
there for you to play. Like,
but it's the thing. It's an excuse I hear all the time. Oh, she was wearing that, so she was. But why? How? Because she decided, because she wanted to look nice or wanted to wear that, so that means that she's trying to connote some sort of feeling or effect on anyone else. Why can't she just be doing it for herself? Like,
exactly. And that's just another way that men try to.
But it's
patriarchy tries to control and use any excuse it can grab. No pun intended. So that's just a little handful. I had one more friend, another story's just come through, of a friend when she was 13. Her mate's dad tried to kiss her. He kind of groomed her with weed. He was a musician. She thought he was cool, and he obviously used the fact that she admired him musically, and groomed her with weed and tried to kiss her at 13. So just a side note, as we're all aware anyway, but just to make it highlight it, sexual harassment has no age limits either. Whether you're 9, 13, 30, 40, like, it's still there from childhood essentially.
But then again, sorry, not that it excuses it, but the R. Kelly documentary was eye-opening on that front, on the fact of he was sexually abused at a young age.
And that's what I'm saying about cycles and learned behaviour, and where a huge part of the issue lies.
Exactly.
And often abusive partners have been abused themselves in the past. It's a cycle that needs broken with therapy and people accepting what's gone on in their life and the fact that it does affect them. And educating the next generation as well. If we don't break the cycle, if we don't face the issues, if we don't break the cycle and educate, then it will just keep happening.
It's true. It's just like, even like a sad thing that the saddest part about the R. Kelly documentary for me